Okay, we are recording. So today should be a not so long training. Today should be pretty quick and easy. We are focused on creating and editing assessments. And that's the only thing we're going to focus on today. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go back to Carol and we're going to do some editing of assessments with her. So let's get our screen share up. I'm going to close my little box so that I can see. And just like any other time, remember, I've already signed in. This is my dashboard, and I'm going to find her because she's in my save list. But if you don't remember how to search, we did that a couple weeks ago, and you can always go back to that very first training and review how to search for them. I did push it, right? Okay, so apparently we're being pretty quick today, so that's good. So we're gonna go to the program tab. Remember, all of our stuff is in that programs tab. There is an assessment tab right here, and this has tripped you guys up a little bit. So some people have said, hey, I can't find our assessments. If you click on this assessments, it takes you to a major tab. This assessments is where you can put in basic skills assessments, aptitude assessments, and other assessments. The job centers use this to kind of go over somebody's basic skills or aptitudes to help them find a job that is right for them. And this is actually something that you guys can work with the job center on in helping them narrow down those aptitudes or those basic skills to then put them in an IET or something along those lines. But this is not our assessments. So remember, everything that we have lives in program. We live in that program tab. We don't live in the assessment tab. So once you're in the assessments, you go down, and again, it's under the plus sign. If you have a plus sign, you've got to click it to where it's minus. If you don't have the minus sign, you're not going to be able to find it. We're staying with Carol. She's the one we've been working with. And from here, we go down and there is a tab all by itself labeled assessments. From there, we can open it. And as you can see, I have no records on her. We're going to create an assessment. It's as easy as that. And from there, we're going to look at her assessments. So you have to have a pre in order to have a post. Remember, we backed her up so we can have a pre and a post on her, and I'm going to show you the difference between the two. Yes.
If we use the DRC scanner, will the tabes automatically be scanned in?
Are you using it and it's going into tabe?
Sorry, one more time.
Are you using it and does it automatically go into tabe?
Yes.
Can you see it in tabe? Then yes. Anything that goes into tabe will automatically populate, and I do believe the latest that we have on tabe is they're working on getting a schedule put together with DRC right now so that we should have the tabe integrated soon. As a matter of fact, if you go into your records now, you should have GED populating. So if you have an individual who's gotten a GED lately, it should automatically be populating on those records as of last week. So tabe is next up on the list, and it will automatically populate on your record. So creating an assessment, you go right here and click create, and it's as easy as putting in the information. So for the test date, we're going to back it up, and I think I did 8, so I'm going to say 9. 9/9 of 20 is when we took this assessment. You have to choose ABE or ESL. There's 2 different strands. If you choose ESL, you have the choice of CASAS Best and TABE Class C. I do not think Class C is turned on for us right now. However, I do know that CASAS is turned on for us as of like a week ago. You can't use it yet, but they did turn it on. And they, of course, have BEST turned on for us. If you put in ABE, you have a choice of CASAS, the CASAS reading and math goals, the TABE 11 and 12, or the MAPT. We do not use anything but the TABE 11 and 12. As a matter of fact, we're not going to CASAS yet. We may in the future, but as of right now, the only thing we're using is TABE 11 and 12. So select TABE 11 and 12. And from there, you have to choose if it's a pre or a post test. If this is a new record, it's obviously a pre-test. I don't know why you would choose a post-test, but let's go pre. Functional area. Language is on there because the publisher that does, or the programmers work with other states, and other states use the language component. So, and plus the language component is approved by Octave. So it's still on there. We only use the reading math, so select one or the other. The assessment form on here, I don't think, oh, there it goes. It's going to populate. So
So
choose
we will
11
have to do
or
reading and then do math separately.
yes. Yeah, they're two different assessments, and you have to choose. Now, according to our rules, according to our policies, you do not have to. If they fall into one of those categories, such as if they've already passed the GED in math, you do not have to give them a math TABE. There's no use in doing that. If they're already graduated with a diploma or an high school equivalency, and they want to just carry on with some extra training in order for employment. You don't have to give them both sections of it. There was another rule that I wrote in there.
So whether if we had somebody pass the language arts test, the GED language arts content area test,
Okay.
but they still had math, they still had science and social studies to go, will we not test them in reading because they've already passed language arts?
Where are you going to put them in so you don't have to. It would be recommended because then you would know what their skills are. I mean, they've already passed it, right? So the one you're going to focus on is the math in the TABE. So you can test them in the math. You're still going to focus on science and social studies. You know they're at a level where they're going to be able to pass that because they've passed the reading portion of it, right? So they're obviously at a high school reading level. So you don't have to do the TABE for the reading, but you will have to for the math. Now, if they come in and they've already passed the math and they've already passed the reading, but you have no idea they need science and social studies, you have to pre-test them in order to qualify for. So you're going to have to give them a pre-test in that reading area because they have to have a pre-test. Does that make sense? Okay. There are some questions. What about GED Ready test? Is there a spot to log in for these results? Yes, there is, and it's not in the assessment area. It is in the GED high school equivalency, which I believe is Friday. Are we doing that on Friday? Don't get me wrong. Yep, Friday. So Friday we'll go over high school equivalency, and that's where you'll put the GED Ready. And so hang tight to those questions. And TABE, reading, math are used for technical schools like AvTech. Yes, they are. And so if they're going to AvTech, you have to give them the whole thing. Yes, that is true. Okay. let's see. So we're going back to, this is a reading test, the assessment form, pick 11 and 12. Does somebody want to give me a scale score where we can show a gain, by the way? What's a common one on the 12? Anybody?
Let's say the scale score is
545. Mary beat you to it. Huh? Sorry.
Okay. It's all right. I was looking at the sheet.
And then what level do we want to make them? Medium, difficult, or advanced?
A 545 is what, 6th grade?
So
level 4?
Would it be a difficult or would it be a medium?
It would be a low D.
Low D.
I think.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go with the D, which it's going to give us the 6th grade, just exactly what Pamela said. It's going to automatically calculate that for us. And then we're going to save. And from there, it's going to tell us what our pretest is. And we can do the same thing for math. So there's our test summary. On our side, if something happens, I don't think you guys can edit it, but we can go in, Donna and I can edit this. Say you meant to put a 645 and we need to edit that and edit the level apparently. We can do that and change it for you guys. So if you accidentally do something and you need to change those, I'm still going to make it a 545 because I want to show you guys yeah, no, cancel it, cancel, reset. So we can change those for you guys, and that's just a matter of getting a hold of Donna and having her reset it. So it's going to show you what your pretest is, and it says that type right there. It says pretest. So post-test. So we come down. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm trying to watch the comments too in case you guys have any questions. It's easier for me if you guys just jump in and ask. So we're going to create a new assessment. And I know that 2 months is not a long time, but say today, the category again is ABE. We're going to do a TABE, and we're going to go a post test this time. The functional area is reading. And then our assessment form, we did 12. I did 12, I think. I'm going to do 11. And then let's go 645 this time.
Okay, in the normal world, Wendy,
It would not be.
It would be 11 is the pretest and 12 is the post-test. Correct?
Some areas find that doing the 12 is easier, so they give that as a post-test or pretest first. You don't have to give a 11 first, 12 second. You can give a 12 and then 11. It's up to you, as long as you give one and then the other one the second time around. So it really is up to your program. I know some of you guys do it the other way, correct?
I usually do 11 first. I've always heard that 12 is actually harder, but I don't know how true that is.
Is that Jamie?
Yes, it's Jamie.
Okay, so Jamie does 11 first. Hey, are you on?
But, you know, when you're saying that, I just realized if you do the 12, if everyone's saying the 12 is harder, which is what I've heard for quite a while, and you do the 11 second, that would change things and might be a good thing.
I'll put my 2 cents in and say when I lived in Iowa, which does not do the tape, there was conversations amongst for groups of people who had CASAs and tapes, and I heard many times that the 12 had lower scores than the 11s, so they would choose to do the 12s first, so that by the time they did the 11s, it would show a gain. But that was a couple of years ago, right when they first switched from 11, 12 from 9, 10. So.
I've heard some programs do the 12 first and then the 11 second. Some do the 11 first and the 12, that they found more success that way. Some people find more success with the 11 first and then the 12 second. It just, there's no, there's nothing in the tape that says you have to do the 11 first, you have to do the 12 second. It really is up to you, as long as you do one first and then the other one second. It's up to you how you find that it works best for you. So Mary chimed in and she said they do the 11 and the 12. So as long as you're doing the 11 first, the 12 second, so 11 pre, 12 post, or the 12 pre and then the 11 post. As long as you're switching them, it doesn't matter. Do you have to do the 11 and the 12? Do you mean, do you have to, you can't do the 11 pre and the 11 post. You have to do the 11 pre 12 post or the 12 pre 12 post. You can't do 12 pre 12 post or 11 pre 11 post. So you can, if you do the 11 and then you find that they're going to pass GED testing completely, that's going to show a gain as long as they pass all 4 sections. If you do the 11 and you do reading and math, and then they go to post-test and they show no gain on reading, but then they show a gain on math, now you've gotten a gain. Does that make sense, Mary? So do you have to post-test them? No, but our goal is to post-test 70% of our individuals. As a state, 70%. So bear that in mind. That's written in our policies, and so that's something you should be aware of.
Okay, so just for clarification, if we have a student and we pre-test them, they pass the high school equivalency exam, we do not have to post-test them. They passed all 4, they earned their diploma. We don't have to post-test.
No,
Perfect.
that is a gain. So your measurable skill gains, you have to either get a credential, which that is a credential, or you have to show gains in 1 or more areas. So 1 or more areas is the pre to post testing for us. And other parts of WIOA have different credential rates. They have different measurable skill gains, but for us, it's pre to post testing or all 4 areas of the GED test. So they come in, they pre-test, and you're like, wow, they really, their reading scores are off the chart. They could go in and test for reading, science, and social studies tomorrow and pass, and they do. Sorry. And so they pass all 3 of those and they only have math. So our recommended is 80 hours of instructions, or 80 hours of instruction, not instructions, 80 hours of instruction. So you find that 75 hours later, they are ready to take the math test in GED. They do so and they pass. You never post-tested them with TABE. However, now they've passed all 4 areas of the GED. You have a gain. You have a credential. You have a measurable skill gain. You've got it. You're good.
So if we were to have somebody do the pretest and then they pass math official content area on the official test, and we do a post-test in reading, does the math, passing the math content area count as a gain in math? No, not unless all 4 tests are passed. Okay.
Right.
Well, that gives you incentive to go ahead and post-test, right?
Right.
So-
You have to get a gain in all 4 of the GED testing or 1 area of TABE or BEST or soon to be CASAS.
So would it serve the programs if, let's say, this person passes the official and content area of math, we do the post-test and we go, yeah, we know you passed math, but we'd like you to do the TABE in math anyways.
Why
Is that
would
cheating?
Why?
So that they could show an educational gain.
That would be great for you, but you're putting through your student through a unnecessary test.
They might want to.
When, as a program, you should focus on getting them gains in reading.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I'm just, it seems to me that the math, passing the math content area should also be seen as a gain.
One
Even though
or
it's
more
only one
areas.
subject.
So 1 or more areas is where you have to gain 1 or more. So if they've passed math and that math is done, it's scrubbed off, you're focusing on reading.
Right.
So they are starting with a low area in reading or wherever they're starting in reading, and they're making incremental steps, and you're getting a gain every time you pre and post, or every time you pre-tested them here. You've post-tested them here and they're gained. This now becomes a pre-test and
Right.
you are testing them here and they've made a gain. This now becomes your pre-test.
It just seems like we're missing the opportunity to get the gain in math.
But you're
Because
not.
the OT doesn't
But you're
count
not.
by itself.
I
Okay.
agree with Pamela though, because you, as a program, you are missing the opportunity to claim that as a gain because you're just immediately going to the next subject. And for a lot of our students, it's not going to be like early in the school year that they're going to get their GED, math passed. It's going to be more toward the end of the semester or the school year. And so I disagree because I've had students say, sure, I'll take a TABE because they feel confident. They've just passed their GED. And it's not a problem for them to take a TABE right away and show that they have made a gain, because there's a good chance that they won't make a gain in reading with the time we have left.
Are you tabing them in reading?
Yes.
Are they making a gain in reading?
I think you're missing the point. The point is that if you're focusing on math primarily to get them through the GED test, because that's primarily what we have to do is really, really drill down and focus on math. Then when they pass that math test in GED, they're feeling really confident. Asking them to take a TABE is not a big deal from the student perspective, and from the program perspective, it can be a big deal because when we start to move to the other areas, they might not make a measurable gain in reading because of the amount of gain they have to get. And depending on how much time we have in the school year left, or in their session time, I guess I've seen this often enough where we do miss an opportunity for a program to register a gain.
Okay, so here's my question. So how long have you had these students? Have you had them more than 80 hours?
Oftentimes, in order for them to get the GED test in math, in order to pass it, yes.
Okay, so did you post-test them in any of that time with the tape?
Are you suggesting, Wendy, that before they take the official content math area that we post-test them in math?
Well, So the TABE is designed to post-test them after 80 hours so that you would know where they're at in order to take the GED. So if that's their goal, if not, then if that's not their goal and their goal is employment, now you know where they're at so that you can help them with furthering their employment. But the goal of TABE is to pre-test them, find out where they're at, post-test them, find out where they're at. Are they ready to take the GED? Do you need more instruction? Did they make a gain? Sure, maybe they made a gain. Did they not? Okay, where do we need to start to help them make a gain? The whole idea of TABE is to help move them along and figure out where the holes are.
But that's the role of GED Ready.
No. The role of GED Ready is to see if they're ready to take the GED. It's not. So you guys are using GED Ready where you should be using TABE. TABE is designed to do that and move the student along. That's why you're not getting the gains. You guys are using GED Ready instead of using TABE.
But we use GED Ready to plan instruction.
Why aren't you doing that with TABE?
I can answer that because so the GED practice test gives you specific areas and page numbers, and this is what you need to work on, and the content is right there, versus TABE that just gives us a general, you're non-proficient in this area, and then we have to come up with the content area. I love that Capelin book. I would be lost without the Capelin book.
Okay.
So I agree with Sarah that when our students take a GED Ready practice test, we study based off the Capelin book, and then we give another practice test, and when they're ready to take the official test, then we just give them the official test. But it seems to me that in order to get a gain, we should be tabing them prior to the official content area so that it shows a gain for us, especially if they're not taking all 4 tests at once.
So I'm going to back up really quick. So you guys are using the GED Ready to post-test in order to find out where students are. Sorry, I'm blowing into my microphone. You guys are using the GED Ready as a post-test to find out where they're at to see if they're ready for the GED test. However, the GED Ready is not designed for that. It may be designed for that. Who knows? I mean, it's there to determine if somebody's ready to take the GED. It's not designed for a post-test. That's what the TABE is there for. That's why the TABE is approved by Octave as a pre-post test. GED Ready is not approved as a pre-post test. Did I, sorry, my volume didn't go down. I moved my mic down a little bit because I felt like I was yelling into it. Am I not yelling into it? I hear myself in my ears and I'm like screaming. So, okay, I moved it back up.
Well, this is Sarah again, and I guess in my experience, when I ask a student who has been preparing for a GED math and they have taken a GED Ready and it says that they are likely to pass, they want to take that GED test in math. They are not going to be highly motivated to take a TABE to show their gains. However, once they pass that GED math, they're feeling pretty good about themselves and they will take that TABE to show their gains. So it's, I mean, I guess I've done that so many times that I just kind of question why we would switch that around on them.
So I guess I'm just questioning why we're giving them a TABE after they've passed the GED, because our goal is to, if that's their goal, to pass the GED in math. When they pass the GED in math, why are we going backwards and saying, okay, now you have to take a TABE so that we can show a gain? That doesn't seem fair to the student to me.
Well, they like I said, well, and I'll be quiet so others can share their experience, but in my experience over the years, if you say they have to take a TABE, it doesn't make sense to them prior to the GED. And just the the accomplishment, the psychological boost of having passed their GED in math gives them, the motivation to go ahead and take the TABE. And for them, it doesn't feel like going backward because they are actually showing on a different test that they have made gains. And since we can't claim one subject of the GED as a gain, we have to have a whole GED diploma.
Mhm.
Then for other programs, I think it's an opportunity missed, like Pamela said.
Is there a way to change that if somebody passes one content area in math, that it comes as a gain?
Sorry, that's an Octave rule. That's a WIOA rule. There's nothing we can do about that. The only thing that they can do is change it at Octave level. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Can we put it in a request?
The next time that they put out their rules and regulations and they put forth, hey, if you have any comments on this, you can definitely comment on it at any time that they put that out. So I understand what you guys are saying, and I understand that you guys are using the GED Ready. But to me, so the TABE is there for a reason, as is the CASAS or the BEST. It's there for a reason. It's there to see what kind of gains your students are making. So tell me, if you have a student that comes in and they're pre-testing at a 6th grade level, are you then going to give them the GED Ready to see where they're at?
So after the TABE, I will tell you that if they are at a level 4, our program does allow them to take the GED Ready, because we've had students as low as 2nd pass the official test. And so we've cut them off. So if they're at a level 4, 5, and 6, they're to take the GED Ready practice test.
We've had the experience where the student has been nervous taking the TABE. And so when they take their pretest, they're nervous, and then they've gotten warmed up on the idea of reading and doing that. So sometimes it's been a big difference between them taking the TABE and then taking a GED Ready test. And for some people, since they know it's like what they really will be taking, they score differently. Not everybody, but some people.
Okay, I guess I don't see the huge differences between finding out where they're at in TABE and finding out where they're at in GED with the Ready. And I know the GED Ready is more designed to mirror the test, and I get that. But how do you know they're ready to take the GED Ready if you're not post-testing them with TABE? And that you're not finding out if they've moved up. If they come in at a 4th grade level and their goal is to get to the GED, how do you know when they're ready if you're not using the post-test? I mean, if they come in at 11th grade level, they may need just a little bit of education and then off they go to the GED. I get that. But if they come in at a lower level, if you're not using a post-test, how do you know when they're actually ready to take the GED? How do you know if they've made those gains?
Curriculum-based assessments, not standardized assessments.
But you're giving them a standardized assessment when you're giving them the GED Ready.
It's also based on curriculum. It's standardized and it's also specific to the GED curriculum.
Okay, but okay, so I'm going to go back to the GED Ready is not an approved assessment by Octave. Octave says that we have to use approved assessments for pre and post testing. And our pre-approved testing is right now, it's TABE.
I feel like we're just talking around in circles right now, so I'll let other people join in. But GED Ready guides our planning and our curriculum, individualized curriculum for students. So it's not, they serve similar but different purposes. And so the GED test actually is what measures the gain. But because we have to have all 4 tests completed before Octave will acknowledge it, now we're back to using a standardized test to show their gain, rather than something that's based on the curriculum that they've been studying.
I have one question that's kind of slightly different related with regards to the TABE.
Sure.
It's 80 hours is the recommended amount of time for a post test, but you can test anytime after 40 hours. Is that correct?
I believe this. So I believe we set it at 40 hours. You just have to have a approved.
It has to be a waiver.
A waiver.
A waiver at 40 or a waiver under 40?
A waiver at 40.
So anything under 80 requires between 40
I think it's
and 80
under 60. I think anything under 60 requires a waiver. It's on the waiver form, Heidi,
Okay.
and that's updated. I think I've updated it with CASAS as well. So the new one is on the website, but it's on there, the recommended hours and then the waiver hours as well.
I have a question while you're thinking about that other stuff about pre and post tests.
Mhm.
So when we started this VOS database, I put everybody in as pre-test. And regardless, you know, I followed in their file whether they're taking one level or the next, right? So whatever level it was, but because it was the beginning of the year and this new VOS thing, and we had to say whether it was, so I'm still flipping the versions, but I called everybody a pretest. So now I'm thinking, I thought it would automatically calculate since the last version, right?
What do you mean since the last version?
So if it does fill in, like it'll auto-populate eventually. Right now it's not auto-populating.
On the back end?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the tabes will auto-populate, but I've been calling everybody that I've entered a pretest because that's the first time they didn't have any scores in there, and I didn't know that it was going to auto-populate from the past or not.
So it should, I hope so, because tape is auto-populating as of like soon, it should go back. And if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to fix that. I hope it does.
So now I'm thinking, should I have called some people a post-test because they were ready? Like I had somebody that took a test last January, but
No.
I know they needed to take another one. So I just still called this one a pretest, even though
This one is a pretest because it's after that March 1st and it's in the new year.
Okay, good. So you didn't just try to match, you're still going to do that calculation.
Yes. And it's been more than 90 days, right?
Good. Okay, so that's
so if it's more than 90 days, then it's still another pretest.
No.
No.
No. Remember our pretest rules within the state of Alaska, and they worked really hard to get these algorithms right. And I'm really hoping that they are right because they were right when we tested them. So anybody that is pre-tested after March 1st of a year or in a fiscal year falls into a pretest category. So if they close and they start a new POP, they've still taken a pretest. You do not have to pretest them again. So if they come in July, take a pretest, they go away, their case closes, they come in December, it is a new POP. They have pretested already in that fiscal year. You do not have to pretest them again. Once a year,
That is awesome. Thank you. I think
Yeah,
I recall that.
yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that again.
Those rules are in our policies in our manual. So make sure that you are familiar with those pre-post test policies, but it's after and after March 1st. And the reason why we picked March 1st is because the university shut down in the summertime. And we want to make sure that if they come in April to a university that closes on them for the summertime, that we're not punishing those students for coming right back when the universities open back up for the fall. So that's why the March 1st date. And so that we're not pre-testing them and pre-testing them right over again when we have universities or other programs that close down. Okay. Any other questions? This is pretty good discussion, you guys. Okay, so
Can we watch you do another add-in?
I haven't even pressed save yet for this one, so save. I haven't even post-tested this one yet. So here is the post-test, pre and post-test should pop up. And now it's going to run slowly, of course. It was actually doing pretty good until we got stuck. Okay, so you'll see, apparently I hit it twice. I did hit it twice when I was trying to tap it. Somebody gets impatient, that's me. Yes, it's there. So, and if this happens to you, Donna and I can fix this too so that it's not in there 2 times. Let's see, and remember that I can pre and post them at any time. So if they come in and they pre-test in reading and then they post-test, 2 weeks later in math because they needed some time there, that's okay. Give them some time. But we do need to know where they're at in order to get them where they need to go. They should be pre-tested as soon as possible, but some of our students, might need a little bit of time to get there. We do have some students with disabilities and stuff like that, and that's okay. So anyways, this one made a gain. It's only a gain in reading, but it's still a gain. And then if they come and they test again, well, I put a pretty big gain there, but if they test again and they gain again, maybe they 700, that's still a gain. Okay. Any questions?
So, yes.
Uh-huh.
Is there a report that we can run for our students that shows the students who made a gain between pre and post test?
Yeah, so
not just the number of students, but who those students are.
Yeah, so we're going to go over reports on Thursday in the program coordinator meeting, and then we'll look at all those different reports and how to run them.
So right now our program keeps them by hand, and I never figured out the old system how to do just gains.
Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of reports in this system, so I'm hoping an hour is enough. We may run into doing it in 2 sessions versus 1, so we'll see how it goes in the first hour. Okay, so that's essentially how to do assessments. And then when you return to the previous page, it will show you your assessments. Now, best at this time, and it'll show you there. And like I said, my fingers, I went 1 too many, so it says 3, but it's actually only 2. When we get TABE turned on, TABE will auto-populate. If you, okay, let me preface this because some of you guys don't get your registrations in until weeks later. TABE is done on today. We get the scores at 12 o'clock tonight for TABE. They are going to go into the system at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. So if you're not doing your applications until weeks later, you're going to have to manually put in TABE. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You TABE tonight. You do not have an application in the system. TABE will not automatically populate for you. If your application is in, TABE will automatically populate. And by application, I mean these two things. First of all, this AED must be complete. Okay. And you must have your AE1 activity code, which is filling out your participation. So those two things have to be in there for TABE to populate. Those two things have to be in there for GED to populate. If you don't have this in there, GED cannot find you, can't give you a score. The same thing with TABE. If those aren't in there, if that application isn't in there, TABE can't find you. It says that it's not possible to find this person.
So let's say that we put somebody in, it hasn't auto-populated yet. We entered their TABE scores in, let's just say it was last month.
Okay.
When TABE auto-populates, now we have 2 scores for the same TABE test.
Okay.
Do we just email you and ask you to delete one, or do we just leave it and it's not hurting anything?
It's not going to hurt anything. This, I have 2 reading scores, both on 11.9. It's not going to hurt anything that I have 2 on 11.9. It's only going to show 1 gain. It's only going to show if I put another one in on 12.9 that I've only gained 1 level no matter what I do. It's not going to hurt anything.
Okay, I was just a little worried about that since we are hand entering scores now, and then they'll auto-populate. So
Yes.
we're gonna have a few.
So
overlaps.
we wrote the code and I tested the code. I tested the code that said if it is there on the same date with the same scores on the same form level and everything, that if it matches, it will throw an error on our side and will not populate. I just want to sigh because it was tested and written.
It'll work.
Oh, I didn't write it. I just tested it and it tested fine. Saying that, and now it's going to populate like 7,000 cases, but the code was written that it would not do that, but it's going to do it. So it's not going to hurt anything, but somehow it's going to be the dates are going to not match. And so you're going to have 2, one on 11.9 and one on 11.10. If that happens, then we have a problem. And so we need to get them fixed. Because you shouldn't have one day after another, and you shouldn't have them. We should have the actual test scores in there. Make sense?
Just because I need assistance with this, is it possible for you to start at the beginning and pick a client and put a TABE assessment in so I can watch from the very beginning?
Do you want me to do with this one since we didn't do math?
I want you to pick a whole new client so I can watch you pick your client, go into programs. If it's okay, if you will do that.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me find one. Let me see if I have one that doesn't have any assessments on it.
Hey, Wendy.
Yes.
I have a question. Do only the online TABE tests get auto-populated, or and you have to enter in paper testing hand?
Not if you're scanning it.
Okay.
If you're scanning it and it goes into TABE and you can see it in the TABE, the DRC reporting, then it's going to populate.
Okay.
But if you're hand scoring it, I know some people are hand scoring it still. I hope they're not, but I think somebody is. Then it will not. You're going to have to, put it in. Okay, Pamela, hang on. We're going to go really slow. All right. So I'm pretty sure that I don't have any on this one. Fingers crossed. Slowly but surely. Okay. Hopefully I didn't break it. Sorry. There it goes. Okay. Okay, what's my participation date? 7/3. Aha, found one. Okay. Pamela, you want me to put in a pre-test? Okay. Oops, I'm in attendance hours. I apologize. Assessment. Okay. Into assessment, create edit assessment. Go down to the assessment summary and create a new assessment. Okay, from there, you're going to put in the test date. I'm going to back this one up. And you're going to pick a category, and it is only ABE or ESL. This is how they fall on the NRS. So for this one, I'm going to pick an ABE. The assessment type, CASAS, TABE 1112, that's us. The test, whether it's a pre or a post. This one happens to be a pre. Your functional area, so reading or math. Let's do math this time. Your assessment form, whether it's 11 or 12, we'll start with 11. The scale score, whatever that one may be. So let's go 530. And then whether it's an E, an M, or a D, let's do M this time. And the grade level will auto-populate for you. So this is a 5th grade level right there. And from there, save. If you go down, you now see your assessment.
Wendy, this is Hugh. I've got a quick question about what you just did.
Sure. Hi, Hugh.
Hey there. Hey, if we're using the DCR, which automatically scored the TABEs, my understanding, would we need to do what you just did? Would we need to enter it, or was it already auto-populated?
If you did not get the application in until days later, then you're going to have to go back in and put this in.
Okay.
So I want to say that too. So if you're using DRC and you tape today and you don't get the application in, you got the application in 2 weeks or 2 days ago. This tape score will auto-populate for you. You tape today, you don't get the application in until 2 days from now, the tape score will not auto-populate for you. You tape today, it goes in tomorrow morning at 1 o'clock. So basically tonight.
So the point is get them in the system and then tape.
That's why I give you 12 hours.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Got it.
Okay. It is 2:59. I thought this was going to be a quick training, but you know, it's a good discussion. It really was. So, and a discussion I'm sure we will have more of. If you have any questions, please let us know. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see your beautiful faces. And I appreciate everything that you guys do, and continue along. Thank you guys, every single one of you.
Thanks, Wendy. Have a good one.
You guys have a great one.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Wendy.
thanks for taking our tough questions.
Always, Sarah, always.
Okay.